This is the story of how a dream held in myths and sketches finally took to the sky. 12 seconds that changed everything. Chapter 1. The ancient dream of flying. Before there were airplanes, there was longing. In ancient Greece, Daedalus built wings of feathers and wax for himself and his son Icarus, a myth that still warns us what happens when ambition outpaces wisdom. Centuries later, Leonardo da Vinci filled page after page with sketches of ornithopters, machines meant to flap like birds, powered by nothing but human muscle. And long before either of them, Chinese inventors were already flying, kites rising over 2,000 years ago, humanity's first real handshake with the wind. 3 different civilizations, 3 different paths, but the same impossible question. Chapter 2. The Science of Flight. Every object that has ever flown obeys the same 4 forces. Lift rises from a wing's curved shape, pulling the aircraft upward as air moves over and under it. Drag pushes back, resisting motion through the air. Thrust shoves the aircraft forward, and gravity pulls always down. Flight isn't magic. It's a careful, constant negotiation between these 4 forces. In 1783, the Montgolfier brothers lifted a hot air balloon over Paris, and for the first time, humans left the ground. But floating with the wind wasn't the same as commanding it. Gliders followed, wingless riders of moving air, and in the 1890s, a German engineer named Otto Lilienthal threw himself off hillsides again and again, logging over 2,000 flights and refining his wings each time. He died doing it in 1896, but his careful data, recorded flight after flight, became a gift to everyone who came after him, including 2 brothers who ran a bicycle shop in Ohio. In a modest bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio, Wilbur and Orville Wright studied Lilienthal's notes and asked the question no one had solved. Could a machine fly under its own power and under a pilot's control? They built their own wind tunnel to test dozens of wing shapes, then designed a lightweight gasoline engine when no manufacturer would build one for them. On December 17, 1903, on the windswept dunes of Kitty Hawk, Orville stretched out on the flyer's lower wing. The engine caught. For 12 seconds and 120 feet, the impossible became real. Chapter 5. How the first airplane worked. The Wright Flyer was little more than wood, cloth, and wire, yet every inch was deliberate. Its frame was spruce, light and strong, wrapped in taut muslin fabric. Twin propellers, hand-carved and tested in that same wind tunnel, spun in opposite directions to cancel each other's twisting force. There was no control stick. The pilot lay in a hip cradle, shifting his body to warp the wings themselves and steer through open air. It took less than a decade for flight to become a weapon. Fragile scouts were soon armed with machine guns synchronized to fire between spinning propeller blades. And dogfights broke out above the trenches, pilots dueling in a sky with no rules yet written. War's a brutal teacher, and engines improved at wartime speed, growing more powerful with nearly every passing month. Wood and fabric biplanes became fast, agile fighters in just a few short years, and aviation would never be the same. Chapter 7. The Golden Age of Aviation. When peace returned, so did wonder. Passenger airlines began carrying travelers across continents, first in open cockpits, then in real cabins. Pilots like Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart became household names, crossing oceans once thought impossible. For the first time, the world felt within reach, somewhere you could fly to, not just imagine. Airmail routes stitched the country together, and flying, once terrifying, slowly became glamorous. Chapter 8. World War II. The Second World War pushed aircraft to their limits. Fighters like the Spitfire and the Mustang dueled at speeds no one had flown before, while heavy bombers carried the war deep behind enemy lines. Radar let commanders track aircraft they couldn't see with their own eyes. And in the war's closing chapter, engineers unveiled the jet engine, a leap that made every propeller plane before it feel like ancient history. Germany's Messerschmitt Me-262 became the first jet fighter to see combat, arriving just as the war was ending. Chapter 9. The Jet Age. Inside a jet engine, air is drawn in, compressed, mixed with fuel, and ignited. then blasted backward with tremendous force. The result is pure continuous thrust. This new power turned flying into a global industry. Commercial jets shrank the planet, carrying hundreds of passengers at speeds propeller planes could never reach, and airports grew into bustling small cities built entirely around the idea of leaving. Today's aircraft would astonish even the Wright brothers. Fly-by-wire systems replace heavy mechanical linkages with computers that translate a pilot's smallest movement into precise, instant response. Carbon fiber and composite wings are lighter and stronger than metal ever was, cutting fuel use and emissions on every single flight. Satellite navigation now guides aircraft with pinpoint accuracy across every ocean and continent. Chapter 11. Inside a modern airplane. Step inside and you'll find a quiet orchestra of systems. The cockpit glows with digital displays feeding pilots a constant stream of data. Twin engines generate immense thrust while sipping fuel with remarkable efficiency. Landing gear tucks away moments after takeoff. Hydraulic systems move flaps and rudders with silent precision, and fuel tanks hidden inside the wings keep the whole aircraft perfectly balanced across thousands of miles. Even the curved wingtips called winglets quietly cut drag and save fuel on every trip. Chapter 12. The future. The story is far from finished. Electric aircraft are already flying short regional routes. Engineers are racing to perfect hydrogen-powered planes that leave behind nothing but water vapor. Supersonic travel is staging a comeback, promising to cut ocean crossings in half. An autonomous aircraft guided by artificial intelligence may soon carry cargo, and one day passengers, without a single hand on the controls. Even our cities may gain electric air taxis, turning short hops over traffic into a quick, quiet lift into the sky. From wax wings that melted in myth to jets that may one day fly themselves, the dream never really changed. We looked up, we wondered, and one flight at a time, we built our way into the sky.